All right, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're gonna create the authenticate method or slot. So we're gonna create a method that in your sign-in page, you know that when the user clicks the sign-in button, we're supposed to authenticate. So we're gonna create that function. We're gonna be a function at the backend authenticate. Passing the self, we're gonna take an email and a password, and then we're gonna use that to authenticate the user. Okay, so for now we just print it out. So we just print the email and the passcode so that you can see that we have received them. There's only one last thing we have to do, which is to make it a slot. So we're gonna PyKit slot in PyKit. In PySide, we're just being slot. It's one of the few differences between PyQt and PySide. So we're gonna create a decorator, so you can see PyQt slot, and we're taking the string, two strings for email and for password. So the authenticate function is now available to the QML layer or the UI layer because we have decorated it. It's not a slot, it has been assigned to the UI layer. So the button, the sign in button, on click function, we are now only pushing, we're gonna call the authenticate function of the backend. Remember, we passed the backend to the UI layer, and this backend class has now a slot which is accessible, and so authenticate. So we call the backend the authenticate because backend is now set to the back our class, which is we created an object out of. So now that method or that slot is available here. So we're going to pass in the things we're supposed to pass in. Let's give the email field an ID. When we give it an ID, we can access everything. We can access the placeholder test. So let's give the password to an ID. Of course, not to access the placeholder test, but to access the test that the user inputted. So yes, so the authenticate is with email. So email field test. Email field is an ID, refers to the object itself, which is a custom test object. So now let's take the password, that one to passcode field dot test. Yes, this time we're going to get the real test, not the cipher test. So yes, this will call our method or our slot inside Python, and it's going to pass in those two things. Remember, our decorator said that we're going to pass in two different strings, and these are two different strings. So we have them here, two different strings as email. Let's test them. No errors. Let's see if we receive them and print them. So email@gmail.com, and then password 1234. All right, let's see. Ta-da, now you see we have them printed out from our Python. So our Python has received them as slot. The reason we received them is because we have a decorator. If we didn't have a decorator, Qt would have ignored it. Qt would have ignored it. Even though our backend class is a subclass of key object and has been registered. So email@gmail.com 1234, sign in, and this time we're getting an error saying that there is no authenticate function of our backend object, which the backend object has been registered. So the decorator PyQt slot is actually what turns it into a discoverable